Ravendale was a town cloaked in an eerie silence. It was the kind of silence that felt heavy, almost suffocating. The townsfolk whispered tales of a forgotten curse. They spoke of the forsaken house, a looming mansion at the edge of town. No one dared to venture near it, not anymore. Legend had it that the house was a gateway to a realm consumed by shadows, a realm where nightmares roamed free. The townsfolk believed that the house was best left undisturbed. They were right to be afraid. 4 teenagers stood at the crossroads of curiosity and fear. There was Ethan, the skeptical one, always questioning the unknown. Mia, the adventurous one, eager to prove her bravery. Oliver, the cautious one, hesitant yet loyal to his friends. And then there was Elara, the intuitive one, drawn to the mysteries that others avoided. They had all grown up hearing the whispers about the forsaken house. They had dismissed them as mere folklore, nothing more than the ramblings of superstitious minds. But tonight was different. Tonight, curiosity had gotten the better of them. A dare had been made, a challenge to spend a single night within the walls of the mansion. A test of courage, they told themselves. Little did they know their courage would soon be pushed to its limits. As they approached the house, the wind howled like a banshee, warning them to turn back. The old iron gates groaned as if disturbed from a slumber. The air grew thick with the scent of decay and the weight of unseen eyes. Ethan led the way, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The others followed closely behind, their hearts pounding in unison. The house loomed over them, a grotesque silhouette against the stormy sky. Cobwebs clung to every surface, and dust lay heavy on the floor. Each creak of the floorboards sent shivers down their spines. The house was whispering to them, warning them of the horrors that lay within. They explored the darkened rooms, each one a testament to a forgotten grandeur. Portraits of unsmiling faces stared down at them from the walls. A grandfather clock stood frozen in time, its hands pointing to the witching hour. The house was alive with secrets, and they were about to uncover one that would change their lives forever. They stumbled upon a room at the end of a hallway. It was colder than the others, the air thick with an unseen energy. A single ornate mirror adorned one of the walls. Its surface was cracked, a network of fissures reflecting the storm raging outside. Elara was drawn to it. She couldn't explain why, but she felt a strange pull towards the mirror. As she reached out to touch its cold surface, the reflection within seemed to shift and rise. It was as if the mirror itself was alive. Before anyone could react, a clawed hand shot out from the mirror's depths. It wrapped itself around Elara's wrist, dragging her toward the reflective surface. She screamed, her friends desperately trying to pull her back. But it was too late. With a final ear-splitting crack, Elara was gone, swallowed whole by the mirror. Section 5, Nightmare Ravendale. A twisted reflection. The mirror returned to its former stillness, the cracked surface now eerily calm. The remaining teenagers stared at their reflections, their faces pale with terror. They were trapped in a nightmare, and their worst fears had just begun to materialize. The world around them dissolved into a whirlwind of shadows and screams. When the chaos subsided, they found themselves standing in a familiar yet horrifyingly different Ravendale. Buildings were twisted and contorted, as if molded by a malevolent entity. The once charming town square was now a desolate wasteland. The air was heavy with the stench of decay and the sound of distant, tortured cries. They were in a realm of shadows, a nightmare reflection of their once peaceful town, and somewhere within this twisted reality, Elara was trapped. Section 6, The Shadow's Puppet, Elara's transformation. They stumbled through the desolate streets, their hearts heavy with dread. They called out Elara's name, their voices swallowed by the oppressive silence. Everywhere they looked, they saw evidence of the town's torment. Trees were reduced to charred skeletons and buildings lay in ruins. Then they saw her. Elara stood in the center of the ruined town square. But something was different. Gone was the warmth in her eyes, replaced by a cold, calculating stare. Her skin seemed paler, almost translucent, and her lips were twisted into a cruel smile. She was a puppet, controlled by the shadows that now surrounded her. Section 7, The Heart of the Shadow, A Glimmer of Hope. You should not have come here, Ilara's voice echoed through the desolate square, but her voice sounded different, distorted, as if another entity spoke through her. This town belongs to the shadows now. Ethan, Mia, and Oliver were horrified. They could barely recognize their friend, but they knew they had to save her. They had to break whatever hold this place had on her. As Ilara spoke, she revealed the key to breaking the curse. Hidden within the mansion's depths lay the heart of the shadow. This artifact, pulsating with dark energy, was the source of the curse and the key to undoing it. Their quest was clear: find the heart of the shadow and free Ilara from the clutches of the curse. Section 8. The Shadow King's game, Trapped in Despair. Guided by Ilara's cryptic clues, they navigated through a labyrinth of shadowy corridors and treacherous traps. Each challenge tested their courage and their bond, pushing them closer to the breaking point. The mansion seemed to revel in their despair, feeding off their fear. They finally reached a chamber hidden deep within the mansion. It was a circular room with walls adorned with grotesque carvings, depicting scenes of unimaginable horror. In the center, a throne made of twisted metal awaited its occupant. As they stepped into the chamber, a chilling laughter echoed around them. Emerging from the shadows, a figure materialized on the throne. His eyes, burning like hot coals, seemed to pierce through their very souls. This was the Shadow King, the entity responsible for Ravendale's curse. Section 9. The Cliffhanger, A Race Against Time. The Shadow King rose from his throne, his laughter echoing through the chamber. "You dare to defy me?" he boomed, his voice dripping with malice. "The girl is mine, the town is mine, and soon your souls will be mine as well." He raised his hand, and shadows swirled around him, solidifying into grotesque creatures with razor-sharp claws and glowing red eyes. They lunged at the teenagers, eager to tear them limb from limb. The teenagers were trapped, their backs against the wall, facing an enemy far more powerful than they could have imagined. "We won't let you win!" Ethan shouted, his voice barely a whisper. He knew the odds were stacked against them, but they had come too far to give up now. They had to find a way to defeat the Shadow King, save Ilara, and break the curse. But how? The answer and their fate hung precariously in the balance, waiting to be revealed in the next harrowing chapter of their adventure.